Football is the game. All right, it's the Friday Soccer Paycheck on the Deep End Broadcasting Network shortly after 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here from Virginia Beach, Virginia, the United States of America, talking about soccer in the English Premier League and the English Championship League. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right to the table. Let's see where we stand before we look at the games for the week, which is a little bit of a shorter slate with a cup final going on that will involve Newcastle and Man United. So they will not be here on the I could break down that game, I guess. It is their sides. But, I don't know. Go under, I guess. How about that? So the table, let's take a look at that. Arsenal now 2 points up on Man City. So after Man City draws to even up on the top of the standings, the draw last week against Bournemouth is a bad draw. Bad draw for Manchester City. They can't seem to find the back of the goal like they used to be able to. Anyway, although they do lead the league in goals by 9 goals. And I feel like they just don't score like they used to. But still the league leaders in goals, a plus 36-point differential. And Arsenal sits at the top after having an inconsistent last 5 games with 54 points. And now here we are. So we are a few weeks now back to back. So we should have a good basis on form here now that the World Cup is well in our rear view mirror and a lot of the weekends off for these tournaments that have put the EPL on pause. All right, so we haven't had consistency, or at least we haven't thought we'd have some consistency. We've seen that in some of the games. There definitely have been some teams with some rust coming off the breaks and the bye weeks. So now we have some familiarity with back-to-back weeks here. So Arsenal is at the top of the standings with 54 points. Man United, 49 points. So they are back in the top 3. Man United is back officially. They won 2 in a row and 3 out of their last 4 with a draw. Tottenham wins last weekend out against West Ham. They are now your 4th spot team. 5th place is Newcastle, 41 points. And Fulham is in your 6th spot, 39 points, where they have a game currently in the 69th minute, 1-1. They are at home at Craven Cottage, drawing with the Wolves as we speak. Brighton is in the 7th, Liverpool 8th, and Brentford 9th. All of those teams have 35 points, though. Liverpool and Brighton a game in hand over Brentford, meaning they have 1 extra to play. Chelsea, 10th spot for them, 31 points. They lost their last time out after 3 draws, so the fans are down on Chelsea. Aston Villa was our little hot team that we liked, but now they have lost 3 in a row. Last time out, they lose to Arsenal, but they've had a tough schedule. They have not had it easy. Aston Villa, it gets a little bit easier for them this week. Crystal Palace has 4 draws out of their last 5 with a loss. They're in 12th with 26 points. Now we're starting to creep down to the relegation zone area. Nottingham, 25 points. Leicester, 24 points. Wolves, who are playing right now with 15 points. I'm sorry, with 24 points, 15th spot. And then this is it here. Everton and Bournemouth, 21 points. They are above the relegation zone, but barely. 20 points for West Ham. Leeds, 19 points. Southampton with 18 points, although they did win last week. Those 3 teams are your bottom in the relegation zone. That is West Ham, Leeds, and Southampton. Now, we had a stat going back where we were looking like the bottom. We were looking at like the bottom 7 or 8 teams, and their losses compared to wins were through the roof. That is now evened out some. We have Leicester with a couple of wins in their top five. The Wolves have 3 wins in the last 5. Everton has a couple of wins in the last 5. Bournemouth has a win as well. West Ham, just the 1 win, but they've drawn a couple of times. Bournemouth drawing a couple of times too. Leeds is the one team who's still playing consistently really bad. And Southampton even has 2 wins here in the last 5. We'll go to, let's go to these games. Why not? Let's take a look at them. We'll draw up the soccer lines. Still 1-1, 72nd minute, Fulham and Wolverhampton. So that is a live score right now. Okay, weird schedule. No early game tomorrow, but we do have a 10 o'clock game. So Leicester hosts Arsenal. Leicester plus 380 at home. Arsenal is minus 150. We talked about last week how Leicester is one of those teams who's showing some spunk. They're playing a lot better. Their defense has been decent. They're getting goals and goal opportunities. And Arsenal was kind of regressing a little bit, playing not as consistent as they were, a little bit rough around the edges coming out of the World Cup break, et cetera, et cetera. After last weekend, Leicester is putting up a nice little fight to Tottenham. And then once they gave up that first goal, I feel like all the air was let out of their balloon, and they end up losing that game 3-0. But they did have chances to score, and were pushing the ball. So Leicester hung right in there until they started to get down, and I feel like they kind of lost their wits about themselves. Arsenal was down and rallied and won nicely. So they had a tough test last week themselves. That was the Saturday early game against Aston Villa. Yeah, Aston Villa played them well, and then Arsenal turned it on there in the second half with 3 goals after the 60th minute. Aston Villa leading that game 2/3 throughout. So here we are. Aston Villa is at Leicester. Leicester will be motivated at home, you would think. Is it a beware sign for Arsenal? I think that's beware sign is still out. Leicester is a team capable of the upset. So I think that, I'm sorry, Leicester last week, not Tottenham. They actually beat Tottenham. Last week, Leicester lost to Man United. Yes, let me not confuse that. So Leicester played Man United tough until they succumbed to some goals, and then they kind of lost their wits. It's going to be the same thing. I think you'll get a strong effort from Leicester as long as they are in it on a scoreboard. So it's important for Arsenal to start strong in this one. I think Leicester will put up a good effort. I think they can probably score a goal here in the first half or so. And I think just any kind of over number for the game has a chance to get there, to be honest. I think there's this could be a 3-2 game. This could be a 4-2 game. Over 3.5 is just plus 168. So not the biggest price in the world, but not too bad either, I guess, for these two teams, considering they can score. The home team to get over 1.5 goals is plus 220. I think there's a shot for that for sure. Away team over 2.5 is plus 220. Again, I think all of that can happen. Leicester has leaky defense. So I think any kind of number for the over here, but you're not going to get paid too extravagant for it. West Ham at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time game as well, host Nottingham Forest. I think this is a game that West Ham can win. They have been playing better. Again, and they had some opportunities against Tottenham too. They played them well until the air was let out of their balloons too. So almost the same boat as Leicester from last week. But West Ham at home against Nottingham Forest, who I believe has given up. Have they given up the second most goals? Let's see here. Nottingham has given up 38 goals, which is now Well, Bournemouth has 44, Leeds 39, Southampton 40, Leicester 41. But Nottingham is right there with 38 goals given up on the season. West Ham, they just haven't scored. They've scored 13. They've scored 19 goals overall for West Ham. That is right at the bottom of the league as well. But Nottingham has only scored 18. So you would think that this would be an under game. That could definitely be the case here for these two teams to find themselves into playing a very low scoring game. I think it's set up for West Ham to win at home, though. Do you want to take West Ham on the team goals? I'm not so sure, but if they have a chance to open it up, and they didn't get 3 goals a few weeks back. Home team goals over 2.5 for West Ham is just a cheap plus 330. Man, it almost makes you think they'll get there just for that reason. Minus 104 for over a goal and a half for West Ham at home. I'm not going to trust Nottingham Forest in the spot. West Ham is going to be the desperate team fighting to get out of relegation. So I think that's going to be an advantage for them as far as motivation goes anyway. And weather-wise, it's not going to be wet again tomorrow. Temperatures high 40s, 50s. So a chance for goals again on what could otherwise be a very cold, snowy, blustery winter day over there in the UK. So the chances for goals open up with the nicer weather, and West Ham. You're not getting paid extravagantly again, but I think they can get to over 1.5 goals anyway, maybe 2.5. Minus 135 seems like the best play. It really does on the board. You're taking a reach at over 2.5. So we'll give the nod to West Ham just to win at home. Everton is hosting Aston Villa. Everton is plus 150. Aston Villa is plus 195. The draw is at plus 210. I like Aston Villa here. They've played 3 tough opponents in a row. I think that's only going to make them better. Although Everton looks better under Sean Dyche, their coach that has now come in. I think that they are still not a good team. That's just the problem with them. I think Aston Villa has a little bit better talent. They can fly around the field a little bit better. Everton is a little stingy on defense. I will give them that. So that this is another potential to be a 1-0 game, really, as is the West Ham Nottingham game. This could be a 1-0 game. But I do like Aston Villa plus 195. I think that's a good price for them. As far as goals go, if you want Aston Villa over 2 goals, that might be another angle to take a look at. To get 1.5 goals or over is plus 210. So that's not too bad of a price there. Over 2.5 goals for Aston Villa is plus 750. Wow, that's a big number. So I would look at Aston Villa or Aston Villa over 1.5. I think this is a game that Aston Villa definitely can win. Let me look right back at the standings one more time. And with Everton, who was in the relegation zone, now in the 16th spot, but they're just 1 point ahead of it. And all these teams can really jump them or get even with them. They could be right there at the very bottom by the end of the weekend. Aston Villa, 28 goals scored, 38 given up with a minus 10 goal differential. They have 28 points and comfortably right now in 11th spot in the EPL table. So I think it's Aston Villa or nothing here, just because of the quality of, or the lack of quality for Everton. And Aston Villa does have some players who do, since they've changed their style, a little bit more of a high-flying team, like to push the ball up the field. And they did play at Arsenal very well, too. They just kind of lost that there in the last third of the game. So we'll take a nod with Aston Villa at plus 195. Leeds is hosting Southampton Saturday at 10 o'clock. Minus 105 for Leeds. Southampton plus 300. The draw is plus 250. Again, this could be another 1-0 game, even in the nice weather. Southampton's been playing feisty. Leeds, not so much. I think that if you're really going to be priced in, I mean, you're talking about the two bottom teams here in the table. But Southampton, if you're looking at it, both of these teams have 2 wins in their last 10 games combined, and Southampton has 2 of those. So I think at plus 300, you may be priced in with Southampton to take that number. But I think the best thing here with the bottom 2 teams is just to have a no play. Bournemouth host Man City, plus 850 for Bournemouth. The draw is plus 460, minus 320 for Man City. Man City did play a Champions League game midweek. So maybe they're starting to get a little fatigued as well. Bournemouth, they beat the Wolves their last time out. Man City drew with, I think it was Nottingham. Yes, 1-1 with Nottingham. A late Chris Wood goal there. But Bournemouth gets the win last week over the Wolves. And again, right there at the bottom, the 17th spot is Bournemouth. They need a win bad. They're going to be playing hard. Is Man City a little tired? I don't know. I would hope Man City can get their goals. Really, over 2.5 away team goals for Man City, which they haven't. And in this kind of spot this year against teams like Bournemouth, they haven't been able to check the box for the win either. So this would almost be the first time. But plus 126 for over 2.5 Man City goals. I guess we take a shot at that and hope for the best. And Saturday, 2:45, we have Liverpool and the Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace plus 360 at home. The draw plus 280. Liverpool is minus 135. Liverpool has not played well at all this season. So they are just sputtering. I mean, they just really, really are. If we look at, again, Liverpool and their last 5 games, they do have 2 wins in a row, but loss, draw, loss before that. The 8th team in the table standings, they do have a plus 10 goal differential, scored 38, given up 28. Crystal Palace, they just don't score themselves. Scored 21, have allowed 31, and they've drawn 4 out of their last 5 with a loss. So you would think it's Liverpool or nothing, but Crystal Palace, this is the kind of game that they would win at home or at least draw. So the plus 280 draw number actually looks pretty attractive for this game at 2:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As far as any of these games going super over, it's just really hard to tell. I mean, Leicester and Arsenal could, but you're not getting paid for it. I just don't feel like these other games have the kind of steam in them to do that, unless Man City can crank up the goals themselves here. Maybe the Sunday game will be with Tottenham and Chelsea. 1-1 still, second half, Fulham and Wolverhampton. Tottenham and Chelsea, 8:30 a.m. Sunday. That is the last game of the week. We got a couple games on Wednesday, and then we'll take a break again. So the EPL is winding down for another break here. Tottenham plus 150 at home against Chelsea plus 190, plus 220 on the draw. Actually, the game's March 4th. So that will be, yes, next weekend. Game action will be on. So no break. I'm wrong there. February is a fast month. I'm just scanning the games ahead for next week. Looking for pre-opportunity, but some decent games. You got definitely some high flyer teams that could put some goals up. Okay, so Tottenham, Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea just hasn't done it. They haven't been there. Tottenham at plus 150 is a good number for them. Could they get goals here? Could Chelsea get 2 goals? I think they probably could. Tottenham could too. Over 3.5 plus 270 is a nice number. I think these teams could achieve that unless Chelsea's going to do the Chelsea grind you down game, which is not really that style of Graham Potter. He likes to Although they like to play really good defense, they also like to try to score. And Tottenham has the kind of offense that can generate goals as well. So plus 270 on over 3.5 sounds tempting. Over 4.5 because this could be a 3-2 game as well as plus 710. So that's actually a pretty nice number, plus 710 on over 4.5 for Chelsea. Okay, this is just a weird slate this week. I can't say I have anything really strong wise. We'll recap the picks a little later, but I think I can't even say I like any goal scorer props this week, to be honest. These games could be all tight. They could all be 1-0, 2-1, 1-1 games, 0-0 even. That could actually be the case again this week. You hate to see it. You want to see some games with some super overs. Maybe this will be the week we least expect it. But Aston Villa, I think, looks like the best play at plus 195 on the board. Okay, Fulham and Wolves still 1-1. All right, let's go ahead and take a break. We'll go ahead and take a break. We'll play the Wolves fans music. We'll come back. We'll take a look at the championship table, see what that has to offer. The top team there, Burnley, well ahead in first place. And then it's just really everyone else after that. This is the Friday Soccer Paycheck. We'll be back after this.
Hey, does your home have algae or stains on the siding? Is there grime built up on your deck or brick patio? Coastal Pressure Washing Services has a warranty of professional services. From pressure washing to window cleaning to deck and fence staining, as well as dryer vent cleaning, you got it all. Call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net. Again, call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net.
Tired of your swimming pool's diatomaceous earth pool filter, the constant cleaning, green pool, cloudy water? I thought this was supposed to be clean. Trust your swimming pool's water quality with a custom sand filter install. A clean, easy solution for your swimming pool operations. Contact Dependable Solutions at 757-354-5517. Do you want to advertise with Deep End Broadcasting? Send us an email at deepend757@yahoo.com. That's deepend757@yahoo.com.
Know your gambling limits. Don't ever bet what you can't cover. Wagering on sports is only fun when you do it the right way. Not every bet will win. When you get on a bad run, know it and avoid trouble. Know your gambling limits.
Control your alcohol. Don't fight. Don't drink and drive. Your one punch could kill someone. It happens. You're behind the wheel. You may think you are fine, but then the other driver is under the influence of texting, and then you are done. Control your alcohol.
Family owned and operated, CP Shuckers Cafe and Law Bar specializes in delicious cuisine, refreshing drinks, and a laid-back atmosphere. We opened our doors in 1995 and have enjoyed being a place to either relax or celebrate ever since. Whether you are in the mood to indulge in a great meal with your friends and family or watch the game, we promise that our inventive menu, attentive service, and skilled bartenders will have you truly satisfied. Both of our locations have spacious outdoor patios for enjoying the breeze and catching a little sun. Our friendly staff at CP Shuckers will make your next dining experience a pleasant one by delivering personal care. We are open until 2 a.m. Full menu will be served until 10 p.m. and late night limited menu until 1 a.m. For larger parties, please give a location of choice a call Call Pacific Avenue 757-425-8676 or Shore Drive 757-412-2929. More information at cpshuckers.com. Thank you for your continued support and have a shucking good time.
And we're back on the Friday Soccer Paycheck. I am Stephen Murray, broadcasting live from Virginia Beach, Virginia, the United States of America, on the Deep End Broadcasting Network. Okay, not much to look at the Premier League. In fact, the one game we have going on right now is 1-1, 92nd minute with Fulham and the Wolves. So the draw, the likely outcome there, unless there's some late heroics. All right, the championship table looks like this. Burnley on top with 73 points. They've won a couple of games in a row now. Sheffield United, 61 points in second. And then these four teams would be in the playoffs if they started today. Middlesbrough, Blackburn, Millwall, and Luton. Look at Blackburn. They were regressing a little bit, but now have won they've now won 2 in a row, and they have 3 draws in that mix. So they've gotten pointed back into playoff position here. So Middlesbrough, Blackburn, Millwall, and Luton, 57 through 50 points, has them in the playoffs now. Now, Watford is right there with 50 points too, but they played one more game than Millwall and Luton Town. So they would have the opportunity to play one extra game to get that 1 point needed to surpass Watford. But Watford's right there, and then there's a cast of characters still within reach as well. Sunderland and Norwich, both with 49 points. West Brom, 45. Coventry has 45, and now we start to drop off. 42 points all for Swansea, Hull, and Preston. 41 for Bristol and Reading. Stoke City, they won their last time out over Swansea, as 40 points. And then really, these teams are clear and cut above the relegation zone for now. At least they have a minimum of 4 points in the case of Cardiff City. But Rotherham, Birmingham, and Queen's Park Rangers, 36, 38, and 39 points for those teams are all better than the 3 tied at the bottom. All these 3 are tied at the very bottom with 31 points. So they are 4 points back at safety. And we're talking about Huddersfield, Blackpool, and Wigan. Now, Wigan and Huddersfield have played 32 games, Blackpool 33. Everyone else above them 33. So Huddersfield, Wigan, a slight advantage to gain extra points due to the extra game that they have. So really no excitement at the top and no excitement at the bottom right now as far as that goes. 1-1, Fulham and the Wolves, second half, 90 plus 5th minute. Minus 1150 if you want to bet the draw live line. You're in 19-1 and 17-1 on either of the sides if you think that they can get a late goal here. So let's get to the championship odds. Maybe there's some games here we can find after the very thin offerings that we have in the Premier League. The championship has Coventry hosting Sunderland at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So there is one 7:30 game, just not in the EPL game. And that's a decent one, too, with Coventry and Sunderland. Coventry, they've been up and down. I guess Sunderland at this point is now up and down as well. I mean, all these teams are full of inconsistency here in the mid-table. I mean, really, if you were to look at it, it looks like equal parts red for losses, equal parts green for wins, and equal parts gray for draws. It really is something to see. I mean, there is no clear, decisive, this team is playing awesome, really to show here. Coventry, though, has won 2 games in a row, so you can say that they have that going for them. Sunderland losing their last time out, a draw before that, 2 wins before that. But Sunderland, who is up from League One, and they're up to 8th spot in the table this year, up from League One. Looks like they won't get relegated, but you wonder if they will just start to recede back down the table, only because, like I said, they were promoted last year. You know, it's rare you get a team that gets promoted and then threatens to go into the next higher division, which is the EPL, where they came from initially. So that would be a full coming around story if Sunderland goes from EPL, drops to the Championship, drops to League One, at times threatened to be dropped to League Two. Now back from League One up to Championship, and obviously EPL is the next step up. But they are literally right there on the cusp with 49 points, just to get up 1 point out of contention for a playoff spot. But they are a dog at home on the road, plus 240. I could see goals here because of the form. Over 3.5 goals is plus 300. I think that's a fine number, so I would take a chance on that maybe. Preston and Wigan. I'm not going to trust Preston or Wigan. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time kickoff. Wigan's one of the worst teams. Preston, if you remember them just from the beginning of the season, we were afraid to touch them. I think they had, like in 10 games played, they scored 3 goals, but only allowed 3 goals or something like that to start the season. But they've never really gotten their feet completely under them since, so we'll pass on that. Stoke, are they the hot team now? They are a favorite at home against Millwall, who is in much better shape than them. Plus 140 for Stoke, Millwall plus 210. Over the draw is plus 200. Man, this just sounds like a draw game to me somehow. Is there goals here? I guess there's a chance for goals for sure. Over 3.5 pays plus 360. So you can take a shot on that, I reckon. Burnley home against Huddersfield. This should be a stomping. Burnley should be able to score. Huddersfield, if you remember, was in the championship playoffs last year. But Burnley is the cream of the crop. And they've been doing nothing but winning. Home for over 2.5 goals for the home team is plus 200. So to get the 3 goals against Huddersfield is just 2-to-1 odds. I don't know if I like that. I do think Burnley wins, but I feel like they're more of a 1-0 winner, 2-0 winner lately than anything. This is a good game. A clash of 2 and 7 of Sheffield and Watford. Sheffield minus 115. Watford plus 290. The draw is at plus 250. I think you can get some goals in this game. Plus 260 is over 3.5, so that's a low number. Watford has scored 41 goals on the year. Sheffield has scored 54. So both of these teams are capable of scoring and getting that over. Can they pump it up one more, 4.5? Plus 680 to get to 4.5. So I like that number actually a little bit better. I would just take an outside stab on that one. QPR and Blackburn. QPR plus 110. Blackburn plus 260. Plus 210 for the draw. Plus 110 for QPR. Plus 210 for the draw. Plus 260 for Blackburn. Blackburn seems to have righted the ship a little bit. They are a high-flying team. I feel like QPR dumbs down every game. I think this is just a sit back and stay away from game. Blackburn is a team I do like to play on. Maybe just plus 260 to win straight up is a fair number to do that. Birmingham and Luton Town. Luton is plus 150. You know what? In the same boat as Blackburn, I think you just take Luton on a straight up shot to win. In fact, we'll go ahead and just plug those 2 guys in. Let me throw in what else I have here. If we're going to do that. All right, yeah, we'll build a little ticket here from the championship. A little parlay. I'm trying to figure out if I hear screaming on the TV. If we do have some late heroics in that game, I'll have to check here in a second. Reading and Blackpool. This is going to be a no play. Reading is a short favorite at home. Norwich against Cardiff. Norwich, yes, they've been playing better, as good as they have all season, although they have been stumbling a hair lately. They did win midweek, so minus 145 home against Cardiff, who is plus 400. Is Cardiff playing a bit better themselves? Yeah, they have won 2 in a row, so they're trying to really fight for their lives and get out of that bottom zone there. Norwich, 2 wins in their last 3, and they're right there on the cusp of the playoffs too. So I think Norwich is the play. I mean, they're motivated. They're not mid-table. They should want to win this game. So we'll look at Norwich team goals. If we take them over 1.5, just to be conservative, 2-0 is suffice for us. Minus 106 for that. I guess we can add that to our ticket, and we'll let that rip. Bristol City and Hull, 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hull at one point gave up the most goals of the season. I think they've chilled out on that stat. Let me see. Hull has allowed 47 goals. Yeah, there's teams worse now. Swansea has allowed 50. Blackpool and Wigan both are worse in that regard too. Reading, 47 goals allowed now. Bristol has been an over team, but not really so much since we said that the last 2 weeks. So once we exposed that, that hasn't set up for us well. Maybe they are due to go over again here. Plus 310 over 3.5. I think that's something you could take a look at with Bristol and Hull. West Brom and Middlesbrough, 10 o'clock. This has a chance to be a shootout for sure. Middlesbrough does nothing but cover their goal line for team goals. West Brom's been a high flyer too. I would expect goals in this game. This might be the lock of the week, to be honest. Over 3.5 is plus 260. Over 4.5 is plus 680. So that's a nice number to go over total goals for West Brom and Middlesbrough. Swansea and Rotherham is the Monday game. And then we have a couple Tuesday games too. Let's see. Tuesday is Preston and Coventry. So maybe Coventry there. Luton and Millwall on Tuesday, maybe an over there. Swansea home against Rotherham, who I feel like who's been playing better. And Swansea just plays down. They're not playing the quality that, they're as inconsistent as it gets too, to be honest. So Monday, 3:30. I guess you take a shot on Swan. I don't know. Rotherham's just at plus 500. Maybe you just take Rotherham, to be honest. That's such a good number. But we'll go ahead and do a pass. I think the best play of the weekend in the championship looks like a Middlesbrough West Brom over. That's what I would look at if you need one bet. But the championship, yes, they're going to yield some more plays for us this week than will the Premier League. So we'll look at over 4.5 goals with Sheffield and Watford. Luton on the money line, Blackburn on the money line, over 3.5 Coventry and Sunderland, over team goals 1.5 for Norwich, over 3.5 goals Bristol City and Hull. Although I feel like you could leave this one out at this point. And then the last play, 4.5 goals over for West Brom and Middlesbrough. That's 7 teams, people. But if you want to put $10 on that, you can win $175,000. That could happen, honestly. I'm going to actually have to do that. I could use $175,000 right about now. Okay, so yeah, we'll recap those one more time here. How about that? Over under Sheffield 4.5, Luton to win straight up, Blackburn to win straight up, Coventry and Sunderland over 3.5, Norwich over 1.5 home team goals, 3.5 over is the play for Bristol City and Hull, And West Brom and Middlesbrough, which I think is the best pick of the week, over 4.5 goals is at plus 680. You can play the over 3.5 as well. In the Premier League, one last time. And I'll get you that final before we get out of here. I'm gonna be pretty sure that's gonna be a draw here. So in the Premier League, I think you can take a look. You're getting a cheap number. You're not getting the best number, but you can take, I believe, over in Arsenal goals. Yes, 1-1 final, Fulham and the Wolves. You can take over 3.5 in Arsenal and Leicester at a cheap number. And then Aston Villa straight up at plus 195 looks solid as well. Man City team goals, there's always a shot with that. West Ham minus 135 at home. Looks like that's a play as well. Okay, I think that's it. We'll let you guys get out of here. Have a good weekend. Good luck on everything that you're trying to do here in soccer. I can't say it's the best weekend, but it looks like there's more opportunity in the championship than there is in the English Premier League. So go with that. All right, everyone, have a good weekend.